Well, hey there. This is my first ever Facebook Live. I've been teaching virtually for a little while now in the real world, but this is a whole different, it's actually backwards. I'm backwards from when I teach. So this is interesting to say the least. So we are live. I don't know that anyone's even watching this yet, but we are live. And we're sure doing it. We are here. We are live. We are absolutely making some things happen. So there's apparently a chat bar here. Let's see how that works. Hello. All right. Yes, I am now doing that thing. So we are here today to talk about the book launch for our absolute final book in this Avery and Angela series. It is done. Hi, Mrs. Jones. Oh, thank God. I thought I was talking to myself here, and nobody really wants that. So, yeah, I'm still kind of figuring this piece out, and I am very happy that I am not by myself. But yeah, the launch has been solid. I've been kind of keeping an eye on it during breaks from some other things that I've been working on today. Last I checked, let's take a look. Last I checked, we were on the cusp of hitting the Amazon overall top 100 for book one, which is the book we're promoting today, primarily. We're still outside the top 100. But what's cool about launching today is, since it's a 4-book series and people have had the opportunity to read those books, while they can in their own way stand by themselves, generally people have a much better experience with the books, with the series, by reading all 4 of them in order. And so I recommend that, both as a reader, a writer, and as a business person. Definitely a good business decision there. But it makes more sense generally to promote the first book, which is why all of our paid promotions today, we're pushing book one, the recently award-winning Last Good Day, which is available today for free, which is a very fun thing. It is available free. If you haven't received your free copy yet, my suggestion would be go get it, because it will not be free forever, and it will not be free. Probably it's going to be free till Thursday at midnight, at which time this may actually be the last time I promote it for free in this capacity, because what we will likely do, and there's a link in the comments now, that if anybody wants to take a look at, that's all good. But it's I will probably do what's taking the book wide in the coming year, meaning right now the books are exclusive to Amazon, and they're part of what's called Kindle Unlimited, which means that if you have, it's kind of like a Netflix for books. If you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, then any book that's in Kindle Unlimited, you're allowed to read for free. And authors get paid by page read, which is really pretty fun. Every time they click to the next page, the author gets paid, and it's a set amount every month. And that's been a really good thing for the series to date. But what that means is that there's a good handful of people that don't read on Amazon. They don't get their books through Amazon. They don't go through Kindle Unlimited. And so those are people that have never really had the opportunity to buy the ebooks, in particular. The paperbacks, if you go into Barnes & Noble and ask for a copy of the Avery and Angela series, they'll get it for you. But they'll basically be buying it from Amazon at this point. So for the time being, that's the way the books are structured. But in the coming weeks, in the coming months, probably sometime next year when the box set is ready to go, we will probably put together something to take the books wide at some point next year. So if you have a friend who's a hardcore Nook reader, or they're up in Canada and they're really into Kobo for their books, or they're an Apple Books person. To date, they haven't had any access to the series whatsoever. The only way to get the ebooks has been through Amazon. So if you have friends who have been in that category, tell them to stay tuned, because Avery and Angela will be coming for them. Just like Love will come to you, the series books will come to them as well. So a couple other things I can share for today. And we are keeping an eye on the sales rank. If we have any, we've hit #1 in a bunch of really cool subgenre categories. We've hit. I don't think there's a way to share my screen here, is there? Oh yeah. Well, maybe I can't do it while I'm doing this. All right. Well, if any of you actually know what you're doing with this, I'd be happy to take your advice. But unfortunately, I can't seem to do that. However, something I can do is I can show you a link to a really cool little bonus feature for the series, which is that, as you know, if you've been reading the series at all, Avery is a bit of a musician. He sounds very much like a 19-year-old kid should sound as a musician. And in the course, this isn't exactly a spoiler, but in the course of the 4th book, he works on putting together a collection of some of his songs. And you can actually have that, you can check that album out for free on Bandcamp. Bandcamp is a really, really cool website for independent artists and bands. And one of the neat things that they've done through this whole pandemic is periodically you can buy things from Bandcamp. If you decide I need to, like, if you want to come and listen to the Avery Young album, knock yourself out. It's there, it's free. But if you want to own some of the recordings from Bandcamp, then you need to then you pay for them, and then Bandcamp takes a chunk of that. Not a big chunk, but they take a percentage, which is fair because they're hosting the bandwidth and they're interactive. They're really easy to work with, so I don't mind sharing revenue with them. But what's kind of cool is that through the pandemic, for big chunks of time, they've waived all of those fees for independent artists. So I know a lot of folks that, for me, this is a supplemental material to the books, but I know a lot of independent musicians that, they make their bread and butter from, things like streaming services and Bandcamp, and those became much more important as a result of all live events being canceled. So good for Bandcamp. If you know people in music, encourage them to use that as a way to go. And actually, I think I could probably play one of these in the background if we really wanted to. Let's see if that works. The song that's, as you know, with the Avery and Angela series to date, each of the books has featured one of Avery's songs. In book 1, actually there were 2 in book 1. In The Last Good Day, there's the song "The Garden" that he sings for Angie towards the end of the book, and there's also one that he performs earlier in the book for her called "There Is a Light That Never Goes Out," which is a cleverly stolen title from a really, really awesome Smiths song that the person who wrote the song long before they had even heard the Smiths song, but they just saw the title on the album jacket and thought it sounded really cool. True story. I know that guy well. And so the book 1 features that. Book 2, which one is in book 2? Let's check. We can actually check our website. Book 2 features that's the one where he's at the audition. So it features "Listen to Me," I believe. Yes, "Listen to Me" is featured in book 2. And then book 3, ironically enough, the Avery Young song that's featured in book 3 is "When Only Love Remains," which actually became the title, which was kind of fun to do. And it was good because I was getting towards the end of the book and I wasn't entirely certain what I was going to call the book. So for this series in particular, it always seemed to make a difference to me that the title sort of came organically through text itself. Um, and there we go. There's a little Avery Young in the background there. It was always important to me that that the title really kind of connected to what Avery was going through, and that you'd actually find the title in the book itself. So that knowing the title, when you read those words in the book, to me as a reader, I've always loved it when the book has a title, and maybe I don't know what the title really means at the beginning of the reading experience, but then when I see that the authors actually put that specific phrase into the book, to me as a reader, I always sort of pop to attention. So that was kind of a convention that I always really wanted to try uh, and replicate there. And what else is something else that's interesting about the titles is if you take the 4 titles, I'm going to write them in the chat here. They make a sentence, sort of. Last good day on the road to here, semicolon, when only love remains, love will come to you. So that was kind of the plan all along, was that I wanted the 4 titles to make one sort of coherent thought, because the series is really about, it's a journey. It's a journey for Avery and Angela, from where they are at the beginning to where they end up. And again, no spoilers allowed in our Facebook Live today. But the story is really, it's about the journey. It's about one journey of these 2 people together. And even though Avery's the one telling it, the story is really about the journey that the 2 of them take, from point A to point B. But getting the titles to work in that way was something that I really decided in book 2 I wanted to do. But then I also had to kind of be true to the text and let the titles come to me. So I was glad that they sort of made a roundabout way into being a sentence. As long as you kind of loosely use the phrase of a semicolon in the phrase. But I'm actually going to try here, because we're learning by doing. And Mrs. Jones, I think at the moment you're the only one joining me here, so I hope you'll indulge me. I am going to try and send out no, I am going to try. Hold on, I need to close that. There we go. So I am going to try and post this so that other folks can join us if maybe they've missed us. Let's see how this works. All right, well, let's give it a shot. I know 3 o'clock was an odd time to do this, but I had some other things that were going on in the morning, and I am with you now. I probably, one of the things I may do is, after we've been here a bit, I may post this as a file that people can check out later, and then I may go live again later in the day as well, when maybe people aren't coming home from work or logging off of work and so forth. So that might be something we look to do in as we do this, because we're learning by doing. I've never done this before. I thought it would be a really fun way to kind of connect. Let's take a look. They updates our sales rankings every 15 minutes or so. If you're just joining us, the music in the background is from the recently released Avery Young album. And if you don't know who Avery Young is, may I suggest you check the link at the top of the page that we've been top of the comments, and start with book one, which is free today. Here we go. Let's see. Has anything moved so far? Here we go. Yeah, we were knocking on the door of the overall top 100, which would be a really big deal if I can get there. Hitting the top 100 in the overall sales rank for Amazon is a huge deal. Even with a free book, that would be a really, really huge thing. So no, it's not there. It's not there yet. We're still plugging along. We've added a lot of paid promotions today. And again, we're promoting book one today. So if you have friends who've never read any of the books, today is the day to get them on it because we are giving it away. It's free. The award-winning Virginia Author Project award-winning first book in the series is available free uh, all day today, tomorrow, and Thursday. And I believe at midnight Thursday, or I guess it's midnight Friday morning, it goes away, and you won't be able to check it out anymore. So, and this will probably be the last time we offer it for free. So, definitely be sure to tell all of your reader friends to check it out. And with book four, it's funny. Writer friend of mine, asked me if I was feeling sad about the series coming to an end. And I wouldn't say that I'm sad, but Avery and Angela and the other characters in the series have really occupied a lot of my headspace for a number of years now. So it will be strange because once the launch is over, we'll really be refocusing our efforts on the next book, which looks like it's going to be a book called So Much Cooler Online, and it will focus on a young man named Freddie Pinkerton. But we're not quite there yet. I've actually written about a third, maybe upwards of a half of the book already. I had written most of that book actually after I wrote The Last Good Day, but before I had decided to make Avery and Angela a whole series. Originally, it was just a standalone book. It was a one day thing. But as I got into the experience of writing it, it really turned into a larger story to tell. And the number of questions that were left at the end of Last Good Day really lent themselves. Originally, I had planned it as a trilogy because a trilogy is a nice, even 3-book thing. But having about halfway through book 3, I realized I'm not going to get where they go. I'm not going to get there yet. And so I decided it was important to tell the story as it is. So I knew about halfway through book 3, we're going to be in a book 4. And so it was just a question of where's the most appropriate end for book 3. And again, I don't know who's read what. So there won't be any spoilers for the later books here. So I won't tell you. I mean, book 2 and book 3, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say they're cliffhangers. Book 2 kind of is. Sorry about that. And my daughter just groaned at me. Yeah, book 2 is a little bit of a cliffhanger. Book 3, not as much, although it does stop in the middle of a scene. So I took a little flack from readers for that one. But I can assure you that when you get to the end of book 4, Love Will Come to You, which is out today. We're launching today. It's available for 99 cents as an ebook today through Thursday. I think on Friday morning, I believe the price goes back up to $3.99. So it's definitely worth taking a look at. But I believe that when you get to the end of book 4, I feel very satisfied with it. And actually, a reader emailed me. She actually got in. The members of my email list got the links to purchase the books or download the free stuff a day early. So membership has its privileges. I'll put the link to that page if you want to join the email list. I really, if I'm getting ready to launch a book, I really I might go one newsletter a week. But generally, it's every other week. I send out a newsletter. It's got lots of cool stuff in it. It gives you an update on kind of what I'm up to with whatever books I'm working on. And also, I share a lot of free book links. There's a lot of promotional groups that I'm a part of that are free for readers, where I'll give you a sample of my work, and I'll be part of a group with sometimes hundreds and hundreds of other writers on sites like Book Cave and Book Funnel and Prolific Works and places like that. So those are things that I share pretty regularly. I put in the comments here my contact information. If you want to get on the mailing list, that's the page to go to. And like I said, unless I'm promoting like I am now, it's really only 2 a month I send. When we're in promotion mode like now, you might get one a week from me for a few weeks. But there's always something. I won't just send you a nonsense, hey, read my book. Most of the time, about 70% of my newsletter is here's some other really cool stuff that you can check out. But this a friend of mine, one of my readers, got the book early with the newsletter, and she read the whole thing overnight. And then this morning, I had an email waiting for me that basically said, okay, I like where you ended, but how can this be the end? How can there not be more Avery and Angela stories? And the answer I gave her is the one that I'll give all of you, is that are there more Avery and Angela stories to tell? Yes, there are, but this one is over. And the question of whether or not I will tell more of them in the future, I don't have plans to right now, but I could. There are other stories of Avery and Angela to tell, and there are other adventures that they go on. But I feel quite satisfied with kind of where we ended up at the end of the series. I feel satisfied. I feel like it puts a bow on things. And again, no spoilers. We're not going to spoil the book for anybody in here today. But I think it's important to feel, as though you are satisfied with where things have gone, as both a reader of books and as a writer of books. And I definitely do. I feel very satisfied with where the characters and I have ended up, and I'm happy for the time being to leave them there. And will I leave them there forever? I don't know. If Hollywood decides to come through on that option and throw a couple mil at us to make movies, that might change the equation. But because there are stories. For now, it's time for me to write some other books. It's time for me to explore some other characters. And like I said, I've got 3 or 4 books that are partly written, all of which I shelved when I decided to really focus on telling Avery and Angela's story. So that's kind of where we are with that. But going forward, no, I won't say never. I won't say there will never be another Avery and Angela book. There'd probably have to be interest. I don't think I would write it just for myself. That would probably be a book that I'd really want to see kind of where the interest of readers lies at that point. But going forward, I wouldn't say. I'd say this series is over. Like the Avery and Angela series is over. If there were another book, it would be either a standalone book, or it would be the beginning of a new series, a new adventure for them, and kind of it would be something that also has a beginning and has an end. I read a lot of stories. I read a lot of books. There's a lot of I read a lot of fantasy novels, and one of the things I hate about the genre is that, especially the ones that get very successful, they tend to overdo it. The books get stale, and then you lose interest in the characters because it's a cash cow. The money's there, and you keep writing the books because people keep buying the books. And I certainly don't want to. While I would certainly trade sales numbers with a few of those writers, I don't want to find myself creatively in that position, because going forward, it would leave me with nothing to do and nothing to be interested in. If I'm just churning out, everybody's greatest hits. Okay, here's another Avery and Angela book. Avery and Angela go to the moon. Avery and Angela go to Mars. Avery and Angela go to the grocery store, which I guess during a pandemic could be a pretty exciting story, depending on how you wrote it. But going forward, it's it's important to me that that the stories are fresh. And one of the questions, I actually got another email from a reader recently too, which is probably the question I get asked most often by people about the series is, what um, is this all? Is this all real? Is all really happened, or is it all made up? Um, and my answer to that, generally, my daughter across the room, who's serving as my literary agent today, I think, has given the answer that I normally give, which is yes. The answer to that question is yes. It is all made up, and it is also based on real people and real things. And that's, you can take and do that with that what you'd like to take and do with that. It's important to me though that the story did have kind of a start and it has a finish. And this book now, Love Will Come to You, it's that finish, and it finds Avery and Angela in dealing with some pretty difficult things. And again, this is a spoiler-free zone, so there will be no spoilers here. But in the coming weeks, maybe we'll do another one of these. Maybe we can have a reading group in a couple of weeks, and everyone can talk about their reactions to it. But because I'd like to hear what people think about it. You write these books and you put them out into the world, and while it's great when they sell and when people pick them up, I mean that in its own way, that's only the start of the conversation. Though you like to hear as a writer what people think and feel at the end of the day. What do they think after they've finished the book? Because if everyone that read the book left a review, that would be awesome. I highly recommend reviews. But if they don't, then you never really know how people react to different things unless you engage with them. Which again, we do some of that in my newsletter, which the contact info is there, and we also do some of that. Over the different email lists and so forth. But it's important to me that that especially on today, a launch day, and it's my last launch day for this series. I mean, even if we do the box set, when we do the box set in 2021, that will be, I don't know that we'll do as big a launch for that, because at that point we'll be launching books that are all already out. This is the last sort of launch experience that I'll have with the Avery and Angela series. So it's a little bit sad, but honestly, I feel pretty proud of the way that people have reacted to the series, the way people have responded to the series. I feel very fulfilled by the fact that in writing the series, I've published 4 books. I picked them up recently. Actually, they're right here. My penguin is holding them. But when I look at the fact that I wrote all these, that feels kind of cool. There's some, I definitely have some moments of a real lack of really understanding how I got to this point. I mean, this is a lot of words. There's a lot of words in all these pages, and actually the longest of the books turned out to be book 4 here, which paperback, it's 370 pages, and it's over 90,000 words. It's a good 5,000 to 7,000 words more than I had planned on putting into the book. But especially once I got into the second half of the book, it became very clear that I was going to, it was going to take a little longer to tell the story, especially if I wanted readers to get to a satisfying ending, which I really feel like we did. I'm really proud of it. It's a book that you were supposed to have it in your hands last June, if we're being honest, but 2020, I'm blaming COVID 100%. I have it kind of a rule as a writer lately that I will not. I never want to be finishing a book when my kids are home for summer vacation. Now, if you know my children, you know that they're wonderful and delightful, but they also need stuff and want to do things, especially when they're out of school. And so I made that decision last year when I was finishing book 3. When Only Love Remains, I was finishing that over the summer, and I said, never again am I going to finish a book over the summer. Well, unfortunately, the book was supposed to be finished in April, and it was supposed to be at market in June. And we all know what happened in March and April, and everything went to hell in a handbasket, and that included my business model and my schedule for writing, and so it didn't happen. So yes, we are 6 months late for our book launch, but we're here. It's right before Christmas. I'd say they make great stocking stuffers, but I think you'd have a hard time fitting them in a standard size stocking. But I would love it if you would take the time today to get yourself or your family copies of the books. The first one, The Last Good Day, is available today. The ebook is available for free. It is 100% free. It's normally $2.99. Today it is 0 cents and $0. Um, Share it with friends, send it to your neighbors. Ebooks are easily transferable. If you're a Kindle Unlimited reader, you can read it anytime for free. The entire series is available on Kindle Unlimited. Book 2 in the series, On the Road to Here, is on sale today for $2.99. The third book in the series is $3.99, and then the final book on launch day is 99 cents, which means that you can have the entire series for $7.97, which for me kind of felt like a round number. But I've had some other people explain to me recently that it is not a round number and that there might be something wrong with me, that I think 797 is a number that I want to use in marketing. But if you've seen any of my ads today, you will understand that that's the big number I've been pushing, is 797. Um, and I don't know. I think it's a cool number, and hopefully you do too. But Christmas is coming. Hanukkah is just about here. Um, whatever gifts you give to people, it would mean a lot if you'd consider sharing. At the very least, share that first book with people you like that like reading. Um, my daughter over there says that each book gets better, so don't hold book one against me if you think it should be better. Apparently, I do get better. A writer friend of mine said, "Well, you'd have to," and I thank them very much for their input. But again, this is my very first Facebook Live, and hopefully more of you will tune in on the rebroadcast, because I have seen that it's only been a handful of you here and there, but it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. So I will probably wind this down for now, and I may come back live a little bit later to check on things. Actually, we should check while I'm here. Let's double check where our sales ranks are now. They do update them every 15 minutes. And we were knocking the door. Nope, we're still where we were. As I said, we were knocking the door earlier today on the Amazon Top 100, which would be a really cool deal. But again, if you're new to the series, it's a coming of age series. It follows a young man named Avery and his best friend Angela, and the book begins basically with them spending one last good day together down at the Jersey Shore in Wildwood, New Jersey, which we used for obvious reasons. I kind of grew up there. And Wildwood is an amazing beach. It's an amazing community still today. And one of the neat things about the first book, Last Good Day, you can see in the picture here, this roller coaster is actually on the Wildwood Boardwalk. It's the Great White Roller Coaster. And I actually took the photo that became this book cover with my iPhone. So talk about technology, really moving forward. In the old days, we would have needed, $1,000 camera and a multiple photo shoot. This was just a picture I happened to take because I thought it was a cool day. And then my artist really did some amazing work in making it actually look like a book cover. So that was really cool. But the series really focuses on Avery and Angela. It's told through Avery's voice, which has been a really fun thing for me to experience going forward. It's been a really fun. It's been fun to write as him, because people ask all the time, "Oh, isn't Avery just you?" And I would say no, he's not me. We have a few things in common, and he's certainly experienced a few things that I have, but he's a whole different animal. He's a different creature entirely. I'm a a gentleman in my 40s now, so putting my head in the headspace of a 18 and 19-year-old young man who's going through the things that Avery goes through has been very interesting. Um, and writing his perspective for 4 books has been fun. It'll definitely take some getting used to when I really start focusing on the Freddie Pinkerton book, because that book I have structured into three separate perspectives. It kind of follows sort of George R.R. Martin style. It kind of follows um, 3 different characters, but it tells a linear story. So you'll have one chapter with Freddie, and it'll tell the story, and then the next chapter might be Dylan or it might be Kayla, but the story for the most part stays pretty linear or concurrent. So that's been a really fun challenge as well, to kind of get myself out of the headspace of a 19-year-old musician and put myself into the headspace of a 20-something named Freddie Pinkerton living in Morristown, New Jersey. So, yes, another book set in New Jersey. Welcome aboard. This is me. So the hope is that with the last book launching today, again, the first book, Last Good Day, ebook is free today. Go nuts. The most recent book, book 4, Love Will Come to You. It is 99 cents through Thursday. Please take a minute and check it out. Share it with your reader friends. But with the series coming to an end, it's been pretty exciting for me to kind of look back on it. In the chat bar here, if you're just joining us, there's a link to an album you can check out, which is songs by Avery Young. They are certainly songs written and performed by a 19-year-old kid. I will give you that much. There's also a link in the chat to the contact page if you want to be part of the reading, part of the mailing list going forth. That would be cool too. But as we kind of wrap up this segment for now, I'll say I appreciate all of the support that readers both on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram have given me over the years. I'm sure many of you, especially those of you who are actually friends with me in real life, are looking forward to me posting perhaps a little bit less sales pitch kind of postings and getting back to silly music threads and name that character threads in my Facebook feed, and I'm kind of looking forward to that as well. But again, the book is on sale. All 4 books are available in Kindle Unlimited. The album is on robertkugler.bandcamp.com. You can check it out for free. You can join the mailing list by going to robertkuglerbooks.com and going to the contact page. There's another link I'm going to share here as well, so that it's handy just in case people come in and they watch through and they feel like they've missed something. On my webpage, there's a column up now that's a primer on the entire series. Basically, if you want to kind of catch up to where things are and you want to get connected to the story in a rapid and efficient manner, you can go to page I just pinned there in the comments. It's a series primer, and it'll kind of walk you through all sorts of things that are fun to check out for readers. There's obviously some of the music is there. There's links to a free prequel chapter called The Day Before. You can get that for free anytime. That's available on Amazon and beyond. Actually, that's the one. That's one of the few. That's the only Avery Angela book that's out wide right now. Is the prequel chapter Day Before. But you can catch up on that as well. There's also a link to a slideshow if you're interested in checking out pictures of real life places that appear in the series. The ones, especially in Wildwood, there's a whole photo essay I took that's on the blog as well, where you can sort of walk through the places that Avery and Angela actually experience in real life in the book. There's the Wildwood Boardwalk. There's a number of spots on the boardwalk. Madame Marie, who's a character in the first book, is based on a couple of different things. The name is taken from a Bruce Springsteen song, um, but there is actually a fortune teller on the Wildwood Boardwalk that my wife and I have been to. That's a very different story. There's also the famous Wildwood Ferris wheel. Ferris wheel is on the back cover of the book. That's one of the locations for a pivotal scene in book one, between Avery and Angela when they're riding the Ferris wheel together. Again, this is a spoiler-free zone. If you haven't read book one, chop chop. It's 2 years old. It's free today. Go get it. There's also pictures from the Wildwood Anglesey Lighthouse up in North Wildwood. Avery and Angela in book one, at the beginning of book one, have a whole scene there. A pretty significant scene, actually. And there really are butterflies that hang around there. Maybe not this time of year, but if you've read the book, you'll understand the reference there. And going forward, there's just a bunch of content on the blog in particular, and in that primer column that's previewed there that you can kind of go through at your convenience. There's actually a column in there somewhere that lists every single music reference in the book. We got away from them a little later on, not entirely. I mean, book four has quite a few music drops, no lyrics this time, but there's a drive that Avery takes, and he lists off a number of very, very cool albums that he goes through on his listening. And that's actually pretty fun to check out. If you're into music at all, those are definitely ones to search up on your Spotify or Pandora. The Decemberists get a reference. Liz Phair gets a reference. Beck, Belle and Sebastian. If you're a fan of Scottish sort of folk rock, Belle and Sebastian get a real call out, including their song "Get Me Away From Here, I'm Dying," which Avery really takes a liking to. Again, the book, the book is out today. It's my final launch for this series. It's an exciting day for me. I'm glad that if you're actually watching this right now, I'm glad that you've taken a minute to support that. It's a big turning point for my life as a writer, because I'm done writing these characters, at least for now. I won't say never again that I'll write about them. That would be silly. I don't deal with absolutes in my personal life, and I certainly don't deal with them in my creative life. I don't. Why would I? But going forward, the opportunity to write them has been a real. Jensen, your appointment. Remind your sister. Sorry, real life stepping in here. The opportunity to kind of shepherd their story has been one that I really feel honored to have done. These characters really matter to me. The ones, honestly, who've been the most fun, somebody asked me that a while back, like, if you take Avery and Angela out of the series, who were the characters that were the most fun to write? Probably Randall. Randall's a lot of fun to write. And there's two characters in book four, one of which wouldn't really be a spoiler because we meet them at the end of book three. But there were two characters in book four that I really had fun writing. One in particular, but I'm not going to spoil that here. But we meet her towards the end of the book in book four, and she was a lot of fun. But probably my guilty pleasure was writing Randall, Avery's roommate in Boston. He was just fun. Somebody actually asked me recently. This is a fun fact. I'm big on fun facts. Randall's name was not from a Facebook contest or anything else. I actually borrowed his name from Kevin Smith's movie Clerks. So if you've ever seen that, there's a character named Randall. And while my character is not based on that Randall, that's who was in my mind when I chose his name. So if you've seen Clerks by Kevin Smith, that's where Randall's name came from. Many of the other names came from contests or they came from real life, or they came from a number of places. People ask about Angela all the time. There is a way. Angela got her name in a very specific way, and that's not a story I'm going to share with you. That one's just for me. But Angela, as we've talked about before, she's not one person; she's many people. She's a conglomerate character in many ways. She's based on a few very specific people from my life. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that everything about her is based on someone. She is also her own character. Hey, John, I love Clerks too. Actually, one of my dreams, John, I can share this with you since you chimed in there. Um, my hope is that if they ever make movies of my book, that Kevin Smith takes a pass at the first one, because I love his comedies and I love his Jay and Silent Bob stuff. But I actually think I've seen some of his other more sensitive material, and I think he could do a really cool. I'd love to see what he could do with The Last Good Day. So if any of you are friends with Kevin Smith, please feel free to give him my email, Robert at robertkuglerbooks.com. I would love to. I'd love to have that conversation. But yeah, that's where Randall's name came from. And again, oh, John, I'm doing great. It's a book launch day. Who could be better? But the fun thing about looking back at the different characters is that some of them were a lot of fun, like Randall, to write. Some of them were very challenging to write. Uh, Avery's other roommates, Freddie and Alex, they were fun too. Alex at first was a little challenging to write, but he got quite a bit more page time on page in book 4. Love Will Come to You, out now, 99 cents ebook through Thursday. But Alex's character got unexpectedly more I want to call it screen time, more page time than I had anticipated with this book, and I really ended up enjoying writing him more than I had thought. He's a character that was kind of uh, left of center of the things that Marnie and Randall and Avery and Freddie are going through. But Alex actually really took a step forward as a character for me in this book. So I hope that readers of the rest of the series will really enjoy that, because I didn't see that coming. I write novels. There's people say there's 2 ways to write a novel. There's the pantser way, and there's the plotter way. The plotter outlines every little scene, everything that's going to happen, every little bit of action is in the outline, and then they write to the outline. And that is a perfectly fine way to write. There's also the pantser, and they call them pantsers because they fly by the seat of their pants. And I can share with you, I actually have a patch on my writer's bag that I can share with you. Um, it's got a pair of pants with wings on it, so I definitely fly. But I like to think of myself as sort of a hybrid pantser and plotter, because I never sit down. A lot of pantsers will just write with no direction at all and no plan at all. I don't do that. I know generally where I know where I'm starting, and I know where I'm ending, and I have an idea about what's happening. But I try to leave myself open. Thank you, Mrs. Jones. You are the greatest. You are one of my favorite fans of all time. The pantser, I don't exactly. I'm more of a pantser than a plotter, but I definitely go out of my way to leave room for my characters to tell me what goes on, because I do kind of look at myself as I'm shepherding their story from in here onto the page, and they have a role in that. And sometimes that means that they have to pay attention and they have to talk to me about what's going on as well. So I like to leave myself open to things happening that I didn't anticipate, the story going in a direction I didn't plan. So I definitely try my best to leave myself open to that. So that puts me firmly in the plotter camp. And there were a few things that surprised me with this book. One of them, as I said, being the increased role that Alex, Avery, one of Avery's suite mates, in Boston took in the book, and so that was a lot of fun to keep myself open to that. Sometimes the best twists and turns in the books aren't things that I've expected, and a lot of times it'll be like, I'll write something, and then I can hear the character almost in my head saying, "Okay, dude, you got that wrong. This isn't what happens. What really happens is next. Here's what happens," and so then I'll have to delete something I wrote and go back and do it again. So, it's been a really I really kind of look at my role as sort of the shepherd to these characters and their story, as something that I feel honored to have done. It's I put these up before, but like when I think back to the fact that, like, there's four of these books now. There's hundreds of thousands of words that went into them, and I do feel some pride at having completed the series. I feel some pride in having had the opportunity to share them with the world. There's also a real sense of something ending. This series is over now. We're going to move on to other books. Freddie Pinkerton is waiting in the wings. I've got another book I've worked on that I tabled a few years ago called The Petulant Son that I'd like to get back to. So it's exciting, and it's a little sad too to be leaving behind characters and stories that have been such a huge part of my creative, personal, and professional life for years now. And to be in my last launch of this series, it's a little sad. But I feel a lot better about it, knowing that just even looking at the figures for today. I mean, there's several thousand people are picking up The Last Good Day for the first time today with the promotion and the sale that's going on. So I mean, to me, that's it's humbling to me in a lot of ways to know that thousands of people will have the opportunity or taking the opportunity today to crack open that first book, that The Last Good Day, to crack this open for the first time. That means a lot to me because with with thinking back to the very first day I wrote the very first words of what became the very first novel that was ever published. To me, that's a big deal. That's something that I'm pretty proud of, and it's a journey. While the book was published just over 2 years ago, it was started long before that. And the stories that are in that book are things that happened a long time ago. And as I said, some of the things in the books are based on real things, and some of them aren't. But at the end of the day, it's been a real journey for me with these characters, and I feel very humbled to have been a part of it, and I'm grateful that anybody has cracked open one of these books, much less the number of people who are clicking download today, which is again very humbling. It's a little overwhelming, actually, to be honest with you. And my hope is that they'll like it, and if they like it, that they continue on. Beyond the sense of actually selling a book, I want anyone who starts Avery and Angela's series, I want them to get to the end, especially if you've gone through books 2 and 3, which, as I mentioned earlier, you got a little bit of a cliffhanger with both of those, especially book 2. Sorry about that, but it's the story that we had to tell, and the way that a lot of readers felt at the end of book 2 was, what? I know that for a fact because most of the emails I got from readers after book 2 came out and people had read it was simply one word, like "what" in the subject line, and then it was, "How can you leave it there?" So sorry, but that's the way the book ended. And fortunately, if you're just getting into the series now, you don't have to wait for book 3. The rest of the world had to wait about 6 months to find out what happened next after the events of On the Road to Here, which is the second book in the Avery and Angela series. And then When Only Love Remains, book 3, while I wouldn't call it a cliffhanger, but it's definitely a chapter in a book that ends in the middle of a scene. And book 4, I can assure you, picks up right exactly where book 3 left off. That's kind of the case for all of the books. It really is one linear story. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could make it one book, but it would be this big, um, and that's too big. That's too big for a coming of age novel. That's I wouldn't read that. That's bigger than Game of Thrones books. And while I love Game of Thrones books, when you start reading one of them, you've made a real commitment to reading, because they're heavy and they're good. But and hopefully we'll get another one of them soon. But as we wind down the hour here, we're gonna hit pause in about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, unless like a billion people pop in. So if you have questions about the series, add them to the chat here. If you have questions for me or just want to say hello, please give me a hello in the chat bar there. But we've spent the last hour listening to Avery Young's album in the background. It's the songs are Avery Young's songs are featured in all 4 books of the Avery and Angela series. They're available for free on Bandcamp. You can check them out anytime. That is in the chat bar there. And book 1 in the Avery and Angela series is free today. The ebook is free. I can't do anything about the print copies, so if you're a print reader, thank you for your order. But I can't. There's nothing. The pricing for that stuff is well out of my control. But the ebooks, we have put them on free today, in hopes that people will get hooked on the series and then check out the other 3 books. And today is celebrating, of course, not only the launch of Avery and Angela for Love Will Come to You, but it's also celebrating the end of the series. This is it. This is the final book in the Avery and Angela series. You can have them all. They're available. They're out there. They're in the world for you to enjoy. But if you're an ebook reader, book 4, Love Will Come to You, is available today through Thursday for 99 cents. And book 1, the one that started it all, the award-winning, now, I won an award recently, Last Good Day, is free. The ebook is 100% free. Mandelbaum, good to see you, fella. Book 1 is free today. It recently won the Virginia Author Project Award for their YA Book of the Year, and it's actually still in consideration for the National Book of the Year in the young adult genre. So I think that's probably a long shot, but hey, stranger things have happened, especially to me. So that will be a neat thing to check out. I should have news about that in the coming month or so. But it's definitely a big day. It is a little, as I said to someone earlier, it's a little melancholy thinking about this is my last launch for this series. And it's a big, I feel very humbled and very appreciative of the fact that people have picked up any of these books along the way, that they've waited for a 4th and final book in the series. I got an email this morning from a reader who was very upset with me, saying, how can this be the end? And fortunately, she wasn't saying that because I put a cliffhanger at the end of the book. I assure you, book 4 has no cliffhanger. You will find what I believe is a satisfying ending to the series. I can't promise it's going to go exactly as you plan or as you're hoping for Avery and Angela, whatever your plan or hope for them might be. But I can assure you, unlike book 2 and sort of unlike book 3, I have not ended a book with a cliffhanger. I promise. Scout's honor. You can hold me to that. But she was disappointed. She said, there has to be more to the story. And while there are other stories about Avery and Angela, this is the end of this one. This series, this story had a starting point and it has an ending point. And these 4 books are it. It's pretty much a linear story. When you start from the day, I mean, there's some time jumps here and there. I know in book 1, there's a time jump of about 3 months. But the book, if you look, this is not a spoiler, but from The story begins in August, and it ends the next, pretty much the next June, the next end of May. So you're looking at September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. You're looking at about 9, 10 months of the life of these two characters. Is covered in these 4 books. Now, there's a lot that happens. There's a lot that goes on. There's a few other time jumps, but essentially, this story covers the journey that Avery and Angela take from that last good day of the first book until the very end of Love Will Come to You. And like I said, it's a linear story. It's Avery's voice. It is taking me, so now that I'm working on non-series books, it's taken me some getting used to. Um, Taking me some getting used to writing in a voice that's not a 19-year-old musician. And although that is something I know a few things about, writing from a new perspective, and also he's writing first person. He is first person narrating the entire series. That's not the case with the next book. The Freddie Pinkerton book will be the third person omniscient, and it's got 3 separate points of view. So I'm trying my George R.R. Martin shoes on, trying to go. Each chapter is going to be a different character's point of view, the 3 main characters. But we'll see. I've got about a third of that book done. I had to stick pause on it for a little while with launch and a few other things going on, but it's been a really interesting day, because the last I checked, and let me pull it up here to check again, we were knocking on the door of the overall top 100 on Amazon. Okay, we're not quite there yet. Making the top 100 overall sales on Amazon is a big deal, and I'm not there yet. And what's primarily driving it is the free book, which is The Last Good Day. Again, the ebook is free today. It's going to be free until midnight on Thursday. So get your copy. And the hope is that people will start book 1 and be so hooked they have to read the rest. But looking at the sales there, it's nice. If I can crack that top 100, that would be a really cool screenshot that I will take. It's already in a number of its subgenres, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how things go with that. It's hit a number 1 list, but they're all the subgenres. Though the big ones are the ones that I'm still kind of waiting on. So if you know people that like to read, the holidays are coming. Please feel free to share this with them. I'm reachable. I have readers that email me through my website all the time. I love engaging with the readers. And like I said, while this story for Avery and Angela is over, and I don't currently have any plans to write another book in their story, it's always a possibility. There are stories that exist for them. There's things that could be written about them. And so maybe someday. I won't say never, but I will say not now. I'm very satisfied with where the series begins, and I'm very satisfied with where the series ends up. So I'm supremely happy with that. And again, I'm super humbled by the outpouring of support, the number of people that are downloading book 1 in the series today. It's overwhelming, and it's almost scary to think about how many people tonight or tomorrow or whenever they decide that they're going to read. It's almost overwhelming to think about how the number of people that might be kind of reading through these pages for the first time and meeting Avery and Angela for the first time, and walking the boardwalk of Wildwood, New Jersey for the first time. I mean, those are things that one thinks about when one has a book out, and one has the opportunity to share it with a wide audience. It's slightly overwhelming, and my hope is that that people will enjoy it and get something out of it, and if nothing else, I really do hope that readers in general take the understanding of the fact that if I can write a novel, not only one novel, but if I can somehow get four of them out there into the world, there's really nothing stopping the rest of you. I truly believe, I truly believe that everybody within the sound of my voice, that every human on earth has within them at least one great story to tell. I really do believe that, and that's kind of that's the foundational belief for my company, Four Leaf Publishing, which is everybody's got a story to tell, and we need to help you tell it. So I'm not making a sales pitch for the publishing company right now, but I do want to put it out there that if you're someone who likes to write at all, it's about time to start working on that novel. It's about time to really start it, and the only way to start it is with that first couple of words. The very first words to the Avery Angela series were written sitting in a park on a very nice spring day in San Francisco. It's my only time I've ever been in San Francisco. My wife was there for work, and I tagged along. My in-laws decided to watch our kids at the time, who were very little at the time, and we decided to take a trip together. And while she was working, I had the run of San Francisco, and it was an amazing trip that I really, really enjoyed. And one of the things that I really got a kick out of was that just I always have a notebook with me, and I just felt compelled walking through the city of San Francisco for some reason to start telling this story, the story that became The Last Good Day, the story of Avery and Angela on their last day together down at the shore in Wildwood, where they spent that last day before Avery had to leave. Um, and again, this is a spoiler-free zone. I'm not going to spoil anything in the series at this point because if the numbers are any indication, a lot of people are picking up book one for the very first time today, and that's a good thing. So if you've happened upon this live, or you've happened upon it on the video that we'll post when we're finished here, um, I won't spoil anything, but I will say that those very first words I wrote just sitting in a park in a notebook, and it was in Avery's voice, and the voice came to me almost immediately, um, for a variety of probably very obvious reasons. Um, but in the end, it was just the work of one afternoon that set the path for what became a book. So if you have that story, which I really, as I said before, I truly believe every single person has that story inside them. Start writing after you're done reading the Avery and Angela series. Start writing, or you can take a break from reading and write then too. But start writing that book of your own, because the world is so full of reboots of this and retreads of that. But I know for a fact that there are millions and millions of amazing stories out there just waiting to be told. And there's never been a better time to get that story of yours out and in front of readers. It's there's no gatekeepers anymore. There's simply a desire to share and a desire to learn how to do it. And if I can learn how to do it, if I can learn how to navigate the world of publishing, and I can find the people to help me publish my books and get them into people's hands, literally anyone can. So please, if you take anything else from what I'm telling you today, don't just read, be a writer too, because the world needs these stories. We don't need 15 more retreads of the same thing we've already heard. We need to hear your story, and I really do believe that everybody out there has one. So we're probably going to wrap this session up. It went a bit longer than I'd planned. It's my very first Facebook Live. I've never done one before, and I may do one again later this evening. I realized that I'd scheduled this for a time that most people are either working, they're traveling, or they're just coming off work, and especially in our new and virtual universe, not everybody wants to spend their time after work or after whatever they've been doing all day staring at another screen. So I think we're going to begin to wind down here again. If you're just joining us, I'm Rob Kugler. I wrote the Avery and Angela series, the fourth and final book of which launches today. The paperback and the ebook are available today. The ebook is 99 cents. It's going to be that until Thursday. So if you haven't picked it up yet, pick it up now. All of the books in the series, you can have the entire series for $7.97. That's including a free book and a 99-cent book. And the other two books are $2.99 and $3.99. So you can have the whole series on ebook form for $7.97. That's the cost of like two lattes. So hopefully you'll be willing to help out there. If you're a paperback person, thank you for your support. There's nothing I can do about the price of the paperbacks at this time. That is way above my pay grade, as they say where I come from. But I do appreciate it if you do check them out. That means a lot to me. It's overwhelming to look at the impact that I've gotten from everyone today in terms of moving some units. Let's take one final look, see if we crack the top 100. I'm curious. That would be a pretty big deal. Let's see. Nope, not yet. We're still just outside, which again is really, really cool. I'm very excited about that. But just as we close up for this session, if you want to watch me yammer on more, I think maybe around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, I might do another one of these. Maybe closer to 6, maybe even 7. I don't know. We'll see. But if you're someone who follows me as Robert Kugler author, which I think you all are because you knew to be here, please absolutely check out the replay of this. There were some cool questions earlier on. And like I said, all the books are out. Last Good Day is 99 cents today. And, it's a little bittersweet to be done with the series, but, that bittersweet is really tempered by how excited I feel about sharing the series with you, about having had the opportunity to shepherd it with you all this time. And it also is tempered by the fact that I've got more books to write. Freddie Pinkerton is not going to write himself, despite what he might think in my head. Freddie Pinkerton is going to be a fun story. I really think that you all are going to like that one. The working title for that one is So Much Cooler Online, but we'll stay tuned. Most of the time, my working titles do not become an actual title. Stay tuned on that. But beyond that, thank you so much. If you've checked out any of this, feel free to tag your friends or share it with other folks. I'll probably do another one of these shortly after I get some tea so I stop losing my voice. Maybe trim the beard up. I didn't realize it looked quite that scruffy. But again, it's a big day. It's a real big day for the series. It's a big day for me personally, and your support on that really, really means a ton. The books have had a really fun journey for me. While it's only been 2 years since I opened the publishing company, and just as I'm about to leave, all these new people come in. So I'm going to keep talking for a little while longer. If you've just joined us, please say hello in the chat bar so I know who's here. I haven't figured out how to pull up the window yet. It tells me who's in the room, so I would love to know who I'm talking to. That would be really, really cool. Just a little quick comment in the little chat bar there would really be awesome as I take a quick drink. Yes. This is now most people I've had in a while, so I'm going to keep going. But please put a little comment in the chat bar so that I know you're here. It really helps to know who I'm talking to. Who's here? He asked dramatically. And also, I'm curious, those of you who just entered the room, are you able to scroll up and see the other links that were shared? If someone would let me know, that would be great. Thank you, Linda. You are my absolute hero or heroine. Yes, well, heroine with an E, not heroin without an E. But it is great to see you, Linda. Thank you so much for your support. Yeah, it's a big day, the last good day. The first book in the series is free today. It's free until Thursday. And the ebook of Book 4, Love Will Come to You, is 99 cents through Thursday at midnight. The other books are $2.99 and $3.99, so you can get all four, the whole box set, for $7.97. So, it's been really fun. I'll revisit, since there's some new folks here. I got a question earlier today about characters beyond Avery and Angela that I've really enjoyed writing. And if you haven't read any of the books, this won't be a spoiler for you, but it might be talking about some characters you haven't met yet. But I think my guilty pleasure as a writer has been writing Randall. Randall is Avery's roommate and he's one of the four guys that live in the suite with him when he gets up to Boston. Randall's just been a lot of fun to write. He's sort of my guilty pleasure, and if Mandelbaum is still here, he'll know that back in what we call the day, he and I spent a little time in Boston, and there's a little Boston. Let's just say that Randall talks very much like you would think someone from Boston talks. Linda, I will reshare those links. Thank you for letting me know. That's helpful to know. I posted some links to a little bit of bonus content. Here's one of them. Avery, as readers of the series will know, is a musician, and each of the four books in the series has featured at least one, if not multiple, original songs by Avery Young. These are real songs. There are real recordings of them. In the fourth book, there's reference to Avery putting together an album, and that link takes you to that album. And any other songs that have been featured in the series, definitely are appearing on my Bandcamp page as well. I also shared, in case people were interested, that link is not going to work because that's not a clean link. So let's fix this up. I want to give my readers and friends a clean link, meaning that Facebook won't be able to track that I've shared it with you. Don't tell Facebook. Okay, so, and if you can hear any of the music in the background, we've been streaming the album in the background. It's pretty low, so it wouldn't surprise me if you can't really hear it, but it's in there. The link I just shared is a link to my blog, and a column on the blog is a series primer. It can walk you through all sorts of bonus content, all sorts of extra content. If it's been a while since you've read the books, or if you've never read the books, this is a good place to start. It's got some ways that you can catch up on the series itself. There's another link to the album that you can check out for free. There's also a link to a photo essay, sort of a photo walk you can take through the first book. The first book takes place primarily in the Jersey Shore town of Wildwood, and there's actual pictures of some of the real life places that Avery and Angela go to and experience. Most of the pictures were taken off season, so some of them aren't spectacularly picturesque, but some of them are, like the first book's cover. This is actually a picture from Wildwood. This is the Great White Roller Coaster, and I actually took that picture with my iPhone several years ago. And then my artist, who is an amazing, amazing cover artist, her name is Les. She's from Germany. She was able to take that picture and turn it into a real life book cover, which is really cool. So those links are all in the Catch Up Now Avery and Angela primer. So feel free to check that out as well. But yeah, I'm gonna try to wind this down now. We've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes. So we're gonna look to wrap this up. I might do another one of these tonight. And the entire video of what we've done here will be available to check out later. It will post on the page as an event that happened. So if you want to kind of check out what we talked about early on, I'm happy to have that posted as well. But I might do another one a little later. This was kind of fun. And I realized as I got started that scheduling it at 3 in the afternoon on a Tuesday might not get the most foot traffic for people that want to stay on a screen. So I'm going to wrap up for right now. But again, as I wrap up this Facebook Live session and plan to maybe do another one a little later. And again, the minute I start talking about ending, more people show up. Wonderful, and we're glad to have you. I'm very excited to have you. If you could make a comment in the comment feed, I would love to hear who's with me. But we're winding this one down. Avery and Angela series concludes today with the arrival of book 4 in the series, which is Love Will Come to You. It is available today for 99 cents. And the first book in the series, if you're just getting started, The Last Good Day, is available for free all day long, all day tomorrow, all day Thursday, and that is it. So for now, I'm going to sign off, and I may do another one of these later tonight, but thank you so, so much for your outrageously awesome support.